Oh, might help if I turn on the microphone. Hey, how's it going? Hey, happy Saturday. How's everyone doing? How are things? this day, this morning so far has been pretty crazy for me. Hey, Jen Ryan, thanks for the resub, tier 1, 15 months. Thank you so much. HomeLab New, I saw one sneak in there too. Hey, 19 months, 15-month streak. Thank you so much. HomeLab New, thank you so much. Dude, Secor, thank you so much. Resub Prime, 14 months, thank you. Got a split, can't wait to catch the VOD later. By the way, who is first? We'll get there. Oh, hey, Edster, man, they're rolling in. Thank you so much, Edster. Hey, his resub Prime, 2 months streak. Wow, that was awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, man. Sub hype. Hey, dude, PC Geek, dude, thank you. PC Geek, oh man. PC Geek gifted 3 tier 1 subs. Dude, thanks, man. Appreciate it, man. You do enough already, man. Appreciate it. So why are my icons weird? Anyways, my icons are weird, but dude, PC Geek, he gifted a tier 1 sub to Helium Factory, M Banani, I'm going with M Banani, and to Sabanitos. Enjoy your gifted sub from PC Geek. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dude, Mafney too, man. How's it going? Good to see you. Thank you so much. Mafney gifted tier 1 sub to Lat Nerd. Thank you guys. Thank you. I didn't even get to say hello, man, and bringing my spirits up. I've been a little bit down this morning, not because of anything, but just, I don't know, a lot of stuff going on. Brixius, thank you. Has sub, tier 1. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you guys. How's everyone doing? Hopefully pretty good on this Saturday. It's man, I'll hop into the weather, cause I usually do. I'll lay down some ground rules. There aren't any really. But the weather here in Minnesota, most of Midwest, most everywhere has been pretty cold. Lots of snow. And yeah, that's about sums it up. We had one warm day where it rained. I think that was that yesterday morning or the day before? I don't know. Rained in the middle of the night and then froze before I woke up. So I have like 2 inches of frozen ice all over my sidewalks. I'm just like, I'm not even going to deal with it today. Like I can't even deal with it because it rained and froze before I even woke up, or before I even realized, I guess I should say. So, but at least most of the U.S. has had some pretty cold and pretty hectic weather this last 2 weeks. Hey. Matt G Photo, thanks for the cheer, the bits. Hopefully that's not too loud in your ears. I love that Mega Man sound. I really hear it, but thank you so much. Thank you for the 100 bits. Appreciate it. Brixius, I think I said this. Yeah, I think I said it, but thanks for the sub. Man, thank you guys for that warm welcome, hype train welcome. I like it. I do apologize for being a little bit late. I don't know if you saw my last video, but I've been having some audio issues, and it's not configuration. I had a Go XLR, it died. I had to get another one. The other one's getting repaired. They said it's going to be like 15 weeks, and I'm like, really? Anyways, and on top of that, like something else is weird. Ever since I went to Windows 11, audio has been a little bit weird. Like, audio devices don't show up until I go into the new audio control panel twice. On the second time it appears, I have to do that every time. Every time I start my machine, go settings, audio, nothing's there, back. Go back into audio, reappears. And it's there. So I don't know. I think I was kind of holding off on reformatting my PC. Hey, Crack Kitty, dude, Crack Kitty, how's it going? Crack Kitty resub Prime, 5 months. Thank you so much. Hey, happy Saturday. Building a new NAS, bare metal, and mostly new, but scrap parts. All right, that's all right. New to you is still new. You know, it's like getting a used car or something. It's new to you. So yeah, treat it like it's new. Awesome, man. Bare metal NAS. I keep going back and forth with that, but I think I might soon. We'll see. Anyways, I think it's time to rebuild my machine, and I used to do this regularly. I used to just wipe my Windows machine every, 5 months or something roughly, and just because I'd be like, I'd get kind of bored or something wouldn't work right, or some of my developer tools were weird, or I installed some insider ring of Windows and things went weird. But I think I'm to a point now where it's like, okay, I need to rebuild. And I don't think I've rebuilt my machine for like, I want to say over a year and a half, maybe 2, since before the pandemic, which is like, this is the longest stretch ever. I mean, my whole life growing up with Windows, I've always just like, every 6 months because I was bored or wanted it to run faster. Anyways, but I've been Windows 10 for almost 2 years, and then upgraded to Windows 11, and things have been rock solid except for the last month and a half, and it's to a point now where I gotta invest some time in just rebuilding my machine. Won't take too long. I've done it so many times. I might be a little rusty though. Just need to back up my profile, my SSH keys. They already are, and I think I'll be good. So, anyways. Yeah, so welcome to the stream. If you guys haven't been here before, it's pretty loose, pretty open. We just talk about stuff we're working on pretty much. We talk about tech, we talk about HomeLab, we talk about self-hosting, we talk about networking, we talk about all kinds of stuff. Pretty open format. If you have something you want to share or talk about, throw it in chat, and I'll definitely try to get to it as soon as I can. I try to start from the top and work my way down. And if you're working on something cool or want to share something or want some feedback or want someone's opinion, I got plenty of them. I'm sure lots of other people do. Throw it in chat. That'd be awesome. Let's talk about it. So what I've been working on has been this has been a long time coming. So I as you probably saw today, I've been working on this thing called CrowdSec. CrowdSec is interesting. It's so interesting because it has so much potential. But I feel like it's been fairly undiscovered. So CrowdSec is this open source kind of security. I don't want to say platform, maybe kind of platform, but it's this idea of crowdsourcing bad IPs. And crowdsourcing sounds maybe not the right term for it. They call it participative. It sounds a little bit better than crowdsourcing. But the way it works is, it's kind of complicated, and they have agents. Agents for everything, and then even those agents have very specific roles. But at the end of the day, what it does is it shares bad IPs with other users of CrowdSec. So great idea, awesome idea. I'm surprised this hasn't come up yet. I mean, people use block lists for everything. Think of block lists that you use for Pi-hole, for anything you have as a block list. You have some maintainer somewhere and somebody maybe contributing to it, either one or many people. Well, CrowdSec does that kind of same thing, but with all users of CrowdSec. And they have some, they've seeded it with bad IPs too that they know are just bad in general. But it's pretty interesting. And so I got it running in traffic. There's a small bug that I'm trying to work through. I think there's a PR open for it on GitHub, but that's not important. But it's not only traffic. So when I start thinking about it, it's really kind of, it's kind of challenging or going head to, I don't want to say head to head because it's not a battle, but it is an alternative to fail2ban. Fail2ban's been around for a while. We all like fail2ban. We love it. If you don't use fail2ban, it's pretty awesome. It can be used for many things, but it does a similar thing. It looks, you install an agent, it looks at some logs, and then it takes an action. That's exactly, if you boil it down, what most of them do. And that's what CrowdSec does, except for they also share IP information with other people. So I don't know how it's going to turn out. It's open source. They don't run a service. I'm still trying to figure out what their business model is. And maybe there's no business model, but there's always a business model. There's always, so there's always a business model behind most things in general. And who knows what that is. But it sounds super interesting. Anyways, I mentioned this in the video, but if you're interested in CrowdSec, it's pretty awesome. And if you're interested in more than just traffic, it does way more than traffic. In that video, I talked about, hey, here's what it is, here's what it's about, here's how it works, and then here's how you do it with traffic. But think of anywhere you would install fail2ban. I mean, it's that same idea that you could have it running on Windows, Linux, monitoring logs for many different things. And so in the video I mentioned, Learn Linux TV, Jay, he's got a couple videos on it too, which are pretty awesome, securing WordPress, Linux, I think Apache as well, but that would kind of be WordPress. But and then he has one on, I think, for gaming in general, because gaming, DDoSing someone during gaming is pretty big. So it's pretty awesome, pretty interesting. Anyways, let's talk about what you guys are working on. But first, let me get into a couple of things. One, I'm gonna get caught up on events that happened shortly before the stream or while I was getting ready. So let's see. Danny, I'm gonna start this one. AA, we're on live. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Dan Diddler. Dunkle Dan, Scoo Callie, Pro Cheeseburger, resub, tier 1, 2 months, Pro Cheeseburger. How's it going, man? That was right before I started. Thank you so much. How's it going, man? Good to see you. And then HomeLab New. Yeah, thank you. Excuse me. I just slammed on like some bubbly water right before I started. And Salveris, I saw him giving me some grief in chat, so we'll get there. All right, so let's see who was here first. Lots of chat. Love it. I love it. Who was here first? It was PC Geek. PC Geek. So PC Geek, I pushed it. Nothing happened. I assume this means something around my delay in going live. I just vented about that. It was it's kind of a pain in my butt. As long as I've been doing this, it seems like the last like 2 months have just kind of been unpredictable with audio, which is unfortunate. And one is because of a hardware issue, and the other is just because I'm not really sure why, and that's why I think I'm going to reformat. Hopefully when I reformat my machine and wipe it on a fresh Windows 11 install, I won't have to do this weird hop that I have to do of like open settings, going to sound, back to settings, back into sound, and magically all my audio devices appear. So, let's see. PC Geek, nothing happened. Yeah, Severus, confusion, identity crisis. I don't know what's going on. Distracted. Sorry. That was before I went live. Let's see. PC Geek, I set off the lights. Let Tim know the stream time. Thank you. I appreciate that. You found the on button. Yeah. Let's see. I know, right? I should try more often. PC Geek, is your Techno 10 plugged in? If no, redeem the light change. Oh, it's working. Yeah, should be working. Well, it's blue in here, and I know it wasn't blue when I started. Sometimes it's kind of hard to keep track of the light color, but I just look in the back real quick, and I'm like, I never start with this theme, so if it's this color right now, I know that it's working. So, randomly just join Twitch chats just to change the lights. I like it. It actually works any time of the day. I keep saying that I'm going to put some code in place to actually check if I'm live or not before changing the lights, but you could change the lights in my room in this office at any time of the day, but please don't do it between 8 and 5 o'clock because I could be in a meeting. No, it has gone off during the meeting before, and I'm like, I have my little remote control. I'm like reaching back here. I'm like, I know someone sees these lights flashing right now. I can see like smiles out of the corner of people's mouths because they know, they know I stream and stuff like that. But they don't know to what extent, like what it looks now. But one guy I work with, they went off the other day and I could see him kind of smiling as I'm looking back at him in Zoom, and I'm just like, trying to get the remote to turn it off. Anyways, long story short, I need to write the code to check to see if I'm live first before like making my room go crazy. But during the day I have the windows open and it kind of drowns it out anyways. Let's see, rough start. Yeah, it was a rough start for me. Yeah, turn from white to all colors. Haha, motivation for him to add code online status. Yeah, that exactly what I was talking about. PC Geek, it's okay. I resubbed the other day and came here to trigger the lights. Yeah. I saw it in the logs. The blue lights were on. I don't know if they flashed though. They should have flashed. Although I've been having a weird problem with Flash, and I tested Flash this morning and it was working. But I just, for some reason during the stream, I haven't seen it yet. Could have. Who knows? Let's see. Me. I need to add light mode. Yeah, that's another one. I just thought of like I'm gonna add another theme and just light mode, just the blasting as bright as white possible, like in one of my videos. That was kind of an accident, but I just kept it and rolled with it. A lot of my videos are kind of accidents, and I just roll with it. Like this microphone in the last video because my other microphone didn't work. Dude, thank you. I miss him. Theta Sai, subbed, Prime, thank you so much for spending your Prime sub. Takano, resub, Prime, 18 months. Takano, how's it going, man? Good to see you. How are you doing? Thanks for the continued support. Appreciate it. Let's see, PC Geek, Tim goes to VS Code and then leaves the stream starting up. Let's see, PC Geek, bye guys, caught up on coding. LOL, yeah, I know, right? Rich Codes Web. Hey, Tim, how's it going? Sudo. Yeah, Sudo. Sudo. Sometimes Sudo, sometimes Sudo don't. This time you should Sudo. Rich Codes, I'm having some issues with deploying my first NPM module. I need a device. Yeah, I've done this before. Retired Night Owl. Hey, thanks for the sub. Thank you so much for the sub. Appreciate it. Retired Night Owl. I like it. Hopefully you're still a night owl, but whatever you used to do, you're retired from. Because I'm a night owl too. Last night I was up to 3 something. I for some reason I stay up so late. I could stay up even later if my wife Wasn't like, hey, it's kind of really, really late. But yeah, I've always been a night person. But hopefully you're doing well. Let's see. So publishing your first NPM module. Yeah. Any advice? Yeah, these are tough. Yeah, I've done it. I do it all day. I do it to internal ones, and I've done it to public ones before. I mean, it just depends. It just depends on what your node module is. If you're going to your export system, if you're going to use CommonJS or ES6, and if you're going to include types with it. I don't know if you're talking about like just tips for like coding tips or structuring your code for being able to publish it, or if you mean the actual process of doing it like a release to NPM. I would practice local first before you really do it. Make sure your git ignore files are right. You're not including stuff that you shouldn't be including, especially secrets, but additional code and transpiled code. You don't want any of that. You want people to just be able to do that on their own. But I would practice first locally or on a private repo or something like that. GitHub, GitLab both support package registries. You could run a package registry also local and test it out there to make sure it works the way you think it's going to work before you push it up to the public NPM. But that's kind of all I have. I usually do that also during CI too. I would recommend against doing it local. Just because you have to remember to do it, and you want to make sure your tests run and all the things that come along with works on my machine. Do it in CI. If your code lives in GitLab, do it on their CI. If your code lives in GitHub, do it on their GitHub Actions. They have simple actions to set it up to be able to publish. And then you could even publish, like I said, directly to whoever owns your code too before going to public NPM to test it all out. Because you want to make sure it works when it gets there. But also, I wouldn't put too much pressure on it. I mean, as long as there aren't secrets in there, I say go for it. Because the only way you're going to learn is by messing up, making mistakes, and making it better. I mean, that's pretty much software development in general. 90% of the time, you're figuring out what you need to do. Like 2% of the time is writing the code, and like the other, 8% is like fixing things and making it better. So. Let's see. PC Geek, animated emotes for Twitch when? Yeah, I need some. Mathny, did you fix the bot brooping? I think you meant burping. I don't know. The bot should be good. Let me know if not. Thinking is shaking Tim's head. Oh, you guys don't want to see it. You see my head shaking a lot anyways. When I talk, I get pretty animated. I don't know. At least during this stream. Getting a little bit better on YouTube. We'll see. Alec Ing, how's it going? Good to see you again. Good to see you. Maybe an animated dude. Yeah, we totally need a dude for sure, dude. Dude, man, totally, dude. Salvarius, I am delving into Blazor and trying to figure out how to publish to a container. Nice. I don't know much about Blazor. Sounds awesome, but I don't know much about it. Trying to figure out how to publish to a container. Yeah, I have some patterns on how to do that in GitHub and GitLab. Let me know if you need a hand. Pro Cheeseburger. Yeah, man. Thanks, dude. Cool name. Yeah, for sure. Dunkle Dan TV. LOL. Just followed the Twitch channel not even 5 minutes ago and he's live. All right. Yeah, it's working. Hey, Dunkle Dan. Thanks for following. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Pro Cheeseburger. Woo, let's go. Love cheeseburgers. I do too. I don't have them often enough. Good timing, for sure. School Cali, I'm setting up my first HomeLab server. Your videos have been helping a lot, but I do have a question. In your videos, you say you run multiple traffics for reverse proxy. For small setup, few internal and few external services, do you recommend one traffic or multiple entry points, or just go with multiple dedicated traffics? Yeah, I've been asked, that question comes up a lot. Yes, I do run multiple. I run 4 total. They're kind of weird, but I do. So I run 4 instances of traffic. I got traffic coming out of my ears. And I won't go into the why I have 4, but the reason why I have multiples of 2 is especially for that reason, is because I would set up dedicated traffic instances. If you're doing one for internal, I would have it dedicated to internal only. If you're doing one for external, I would dedicate it for external only because separation of concerns, network segmentation, like all of that, it just becomes exponentially harder to be able to do that, especially if one, network segmentation. I don't even think you could achieve that if you're only using one instance of traffic. You could if you reverse proxies on some VLAN and then it just sent traffic somewhere else. Most likely you have it on the same machine that you're running. But personally, I do, and it's just like I said, separation of concerns, network segmentation, and then the other thing I found is it's like adding firewall rules and block list and allow list or whitelist blacklist to traffic does work. It can be error prone and it can be hard to test and hard to know if it's really filtering out those IPs. And so rather than push all of that logic into traffic, I push that logic one level higher and put that in my firewall. Because then I know, like, hey, the only traffic coming in my firewall for 443 or 80 if you have HTTP redirects is going to this one IP, and I know that one IP is my external instance of traffic, and I don't have to worry. Like, did I get my whitelist rules correct or my block and allow list? Are they working? How do I test this? How do I simulate this? And so I do, and I know it sounds like a little bit more to maintain or a lot more to maintain, depending, but it gives me peace of mind. And plus, you know, for routing, for DNS stuff, it's easy for me in my head. All of my internal DNS, I've split tunnel DNS or split DNS, and I know my internal requests are just going to go to my internal server that's running traffic for those requests, even for the one that's hosting externally, too. And that's just magic you can do with CNAME. So it's up to you. It depends on what you want to take on. I'm a fan of running multiple. I know that means, like I said, more to maintain. It also means you might have duplicate certificates if you're using wildcards. Like if you're using the same name internally, externally, you might have duplicates and certificates. And you might want to space those requests out a little bit because Let's Encrypt, you know, they have API limits. But they're pretty out of the ordinary. I mean, it shouldn't happen in general that you do too many requests to Let's Encrypt. I've done it before, but you should be totally fine. Anyways, I would. Dude, Retired Night Owl, thank you so much. Retired Night Owl gifted 521 subs. Thank you so much. Man, thank you. So, Computer Smurf 1, iBurley, D. Devad, Mix Zuffin, and Dream Travelin'. Enjoy your gifted sub from Retired Night Owl. Thank you so much. I still want to know: are you retired and you're a night owl, or did you retire from being a night owl? I hope it's the former, because I'm definitely a night owl. But thank you so much. PC Geek, I've been 3D printer shopping. Oh yeah, I've been hinting to my wife, like, I didn't say this. You might have seen it in Discord real quick. Manny printed off something. So Manny's a mod, and he printed off a Turing Pi 2 I/O shield for me. That's 3D printed. I'll grab it real quick. Can my headphones reach? I'm not gonna. No, hold on. Speaking of 3D printers, so anyways, So I got this printed. I don't know if you can see that. Come on, focus. Come on. There we go. So the Turing Pi 2 doesn't really have an I/O shield. Jeff Geerling made this I/O shield on Thingiverse, and then Manny knows I don't have a 3D printer, so he printed it out for me and he mailed it me. Thank you so much. And so anyways, I've been hinting to my wife that I want a 3D printer. I was like, look at this. Like, this was nothing. And, you know, someone printed it out for me, and now I have something, and it goes on my server. And she's just kind of like, oh, gosh, here we go. So I know that feeling, PC Geek. So you've been 3D printer shopping. I've been dreaming about shopping for one, but not yet. Considering an Ender 6, but it's almost $600. Wife was at first like, heck no, LOL. That's kind of mine too. I would, it's all about how you, what angle you work. Find something that she likes that you could print. Find something on Thingiverse and say, hey, wouldn't this be cool? Or some project she wants done maybe at home, and you could say, hey, yeah, if we had a 3D printer, yeah, I could totally print this piece instead of spending this money on it. That's what I've been doing. I've been collecting parts that I need to print to where and totaling up how much it costs to print those. and then saving that for a time where I then make a decision to maybe buy a 3D printer so I can print them. But now I'm back to zero because Manny printed the one thing I wanted. Actually, I had two things, but one doesn't work. He actually printed them both, but then I realized that it's the wrong dimensions. Anyways, now I'm back to zero, so I need to find more things to print so I can justify the cost. So I'm right there with you. Alec NG, it took me 3 months to get it, but I got my static Hugo site up on Netlify. Nice. Some difficulty with getting own domain name set up, but 60 days of struggle to do that. Hey, congratulations, that's huge. So let's see, I'm just gonna make this up, but you got Hugo going, so that means you figured out how to use a static site generator, you figured out how to write some content, probably in Markdown, you figured out how to convert that or transpile that basically to a static site in HTML. Maybe you put it in a Docker container, maybe not on Netlify, and you got it deployed there. You probably have certificates, so you learn so much. In 3 months and 60 days. So I would look at it like that. All the things you learned that combined helped you get there. So congratulations, that is awesome. I'm a huge fan of static site generators. They're awesome, especially for small sites or brand sites. My whole documentation site is statically generated. I made some changes recently, but I write Markdown and I run it all in CI. It's all in GitHub. It's open source. You can even see when I push up new blog posts. You see them get transpiled and deployed, and I even have them. I have them deploying from. This gets kind of crazy. I won't go into it in detail, but like the public stuff that I have there actually gets deployed to my internal Kubernetes at home. So if you open up a PR on my document site, within 10 minutes of that getting merged in, it's running live on the internet and being hosted out of my Kubernetes cluster. I kind of went a little wild last week because I was getting tired of weirdness with GitHub actually hosting my site. So GitHub doesn't, they do host my site, but it's also hosted on docs.techno.tim.live in my own infrastructure. So, but yeah, awesome. That's awesome. Dunkle Dan, PC Geek, you just got to throw her all the little ways she'll be useful in the day-to-day life, and she'll probably be on board. Yeah, all the little ways it'll be useful, not she's always useful. But yeah, it'll be useful. I totally agree. You got to find something they can relate to, and especially if it's something like they're kind of into or need fixed or want done. Then you're like, yeah, I could print this thing. But it's going to take 52 hours, so I better start it soon, and I better buy my printer now, Let's see. Salvarius, sit down with her and show her what you can do for her with it. Yeah, I totally agree. I send her things on Thingiverse, because that you can really imagine. Like, it's hard to conceptualize what I would want printed. In my head, I'm like, yeah, whatever. The remote control I had, the battery door broke. That was always my classic example, But if you go on Thingiverse and you just look on the the front page, you're like, whoa, I can print some really cool stuff. And a lot of really cool DIY projects you can use, for sure. Dunkle Dan, different scenario, but work in K-12, K through 12. I'm trying to come up with a similar argument for the school board to approve us for purchasing some. Yeah, schools 100% should be on board. 100% should be on board. I mean, I don't manage your school's budget, but 100% should be. 100% should be. Sigor, right? Or at least try to plan out a schedule so instead of just buying it tomorrow, they say they will save up for it. Heck yeah. Yeah, budget. Yeah, I mean, $50 a month, $600. Tell them to, well, that'd be next year, students. So sorry, students, this year, next year we're getting a printer. No, I mean, that seems like, I don't know how school budgets are, but it seems like pretty low for something I think it would be so fascinating. And there's so many things you could do it with the kids too, where they get to pick something to print or there's so many ways you could tie it into education and rewarding people for doing things. Just like computer time was. I remember when I was in school, it was just like, yeah, if I get my worksheets done first, I am all up on this computer. And that's how I became so good at math, is because I wanted to get on the computer first. And there were only 2 in our classroom. So I knew, I'm like, if I'm just finish this worksheet and I do it right and I'm the first one done, no one can stop me, and I'm on that computer while everyone else does it. So I got really good at math at a young age. And my motivation was, can I play number munchers? That's what it was. Can I play number munchers? For some reason, I love number munchers, which it was even more math. So yeah, good times. Sigor, nope, we read that one. PC Geek, I know I can make some small things or sell on eBay or Etsy for sure. Oh yeah, you could turn around and make a profit or at least break even on printing parts. Rich Codes, web, TypeScript, Svelte, and I've got a huge project of NPM libraries. Yeah, so if you're already TypeScript, awesome. Svelte, I haven't done a ton of it, but should be fine. Yeah, start with one. I don't know if you're doing a mono repo and going to publish, 4 or 5 or these ton of libraries out. But like I said, try it local, try it local, make sure it works, try it on a private repo, and then go public. Go public for sure and push it up to NPM. Do it in CI though. Do it in CI. Figure out your CI pipeline. Because if you have a GitHub repo that's out there, you don't want, on the merge to then pull it down local and tag it and do a release with NPM, NPM version and publish it that way. You want CI to do it. So do it in CI for sure. And if you're doing it, like I said, GitHub, GitLab, they both have templates on how to do it. Dunkle Dan, rebuilding my Proxmox cluster because of noob mistakes and looking into folding at home stuff. Nice. Yeah, nice. I know how it is to rebuild your Proxmox cluster because of noob mistakes. I've done it quite a few times, especially when I was trying to get pass-through working. HomeLab New, hey, how's it going, man? How's it going? PC Geek, there's also Treat Stock where you can be a printer for people to order stuff. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot because that's kind of what people at work were asking me. Well, if you need these things printed, couldn't you just find someone or like some kind of community place where you get some printing time? But I'm like, I kind of want my own right now. Dunkle Dan, that too. I'm a math nerd type, so I'll be showing charts, ROI and such. All right, I like it. Let's see. PC Geek, I've used it to get stuff before. Edster, I am bug fixing my website and it's being a royal pain in the butt. I hear you. I fix bugs all day long. I feel like I fix more bugs than write code. Well, actually, I'm the one creating bugs, so it's at the end of the day, it's me. Well, it depends on where we're at, but most likely it's probably me. But yeah, I hear you. Yeah. It's just part of software development. Funny thing, yeah, no, I won't even go into it. We'll keep going. Man, all the hype. I love it. Thank you guys so much. PC Geek, first time chatter is a 2-month sub. I like it. Yeah, that is pretty awesome. That the first time chat was from a 2-month sub. I like it. Hey, thank you so much. Mafney gifted, dude. Mafney, thank you so much. Mafney gifted a tier 1 sub to Liam JS. Dude, thank you. I appreciate it so much. Let me see what's going on here. Just because I feel like something got out of order, but maybe not. All right, whatever. Let's see. Dunkle Dan. I've been waiting to look into that myself. Any pointers? I skipped one, and I'm glad you mentioned. Okay. Let's see. Hindtit. Sorry. Working on setting up a Bitcoin node with Umbrella. Yeah, I hear a lot about Umbrella. Or Umbrella. I always want to say Umbrella. I hear a lot about it. I don't know much about it. It's been talked about in it's been talked about in our Bitcoin channel, but don't know enough about it. Yeah, tell me more. Let's go. The best tech YouTuber. Oh, Martin Sound, thank you so much. I don't think so. There's so many out there that are fantastic. Sometimes I feel like I go too deep on some topics, and then when I think I've gone too deep, then I do something even deeper on like some other side quest of a topic. Kind of like today, but you know what? I'm just documenting what I'm finding and teaching it at the same time. So I appreciate it. Ing, 57 degrees in Connecticut coastline. Nice. I would take 57 degrees. It would melt this 4 inches of ice I have on my sidewalk. Toss right out. First time catching your stream today. Found your YouTube randomly. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. I'm so glad you randomly found my channel, and I'm so glad you made it all the way here. Thank you so much. Tossed right out. Let's see. PC Geek, been there. Had that too. Just drove over with my truck. Oh, probably the ice. Yeah. Alec, 24 inches of snow from the blizzard is gone. All right. Alain P. Sunny day in Paris. All right. I take that. Salvarius, mid-70s here. Been outside doing yard work. Oh man, but you're in the Southwest. You're in the Southwest. I'm so jealous. Mid-70s. That sounds pretty good right now. I'd take 50s. I'm ready for spring. I know we're a ways away. At least we are here in Minnesota. But my wife's just like, oh, I can't wait for summer. I'm like, whoa, slow down. I want some spring. I want some spring for a while. I want 50 degrees for 50s, 60s for about 3 months. Give me that, because once summer gets here, then it's close the windows back up and it's AC and it's either too hot or AC's going all the time, or really humid as it gets here in Minnesota. So I'm ready for 50s. It's not something people usually say, but I am so ready for it. Matt G Photo, hey, good to finally catch your stream. Thank you so much. PC Geek 60 here today. Man, you guys are getting some good weather. Man, so jealous. It's 3 right now. It was -9 when I got up this morning, so it's pretty cold. Crack Kitty, hey, happy Saturday. Building a new NAS, bare metal, mostly new. Oh yeah, that's from the sub. I appreciate it, man. Let me know. I know you're going true NAS, but I need to look at your parts list again. I saw it in the storage channel, but I just didn't have a chance to like dive right into that message. Mafney, wait, PC Geek, all streamers know, I know who have switched. All streamers I know who have switched. Oh, maybe audio? Probably talking about audio? Oh, 11. Windows 11. Yeah, all right. Mafney, Windows 11 is an infant. It is an infant. Mr. Potato Phobe. Thank you. Thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Mafney, I agree that Windows 11 is an infant, but I really love it. I enjoy it. And my complaints aren't anything about like the OS itself. I mean, I run Windows all day long, and Mac for work, Windows for home, and everything else. I mean, I develop on Windows all the time. I do everything. Everything you see, even right now, is Windows. I truly enjoy it. There are just a few quirks. I don't know if it's my setup, or if it's actually Windows itself, or if it's GoXLR, but somewhere between 6 months ago and now, it's rough. But other than that, it's great. A few quirks, but that's what happens when that's the price of progress, I guess. I don't know. I'm not trying to be an apologist, but I'm a software developer too, and sometimes when you got to move forward and make some big changes, there's going to be problems along the way. Hopefully, you go back and fix those. Dunkle Dan, another streamer I followed, had to go back to Windows 10 because of how many Windows 11 issues she was having in regard to streaming. Unfortunate. Yeah. I'm dealing with it. I have a high tolerance. For problems in tech, and maybe she doesn't. I have a super high tolerance, or I figure out ways around it. Like I said, every single time I boot my machine, I go in the settings cogwheel, I go into sound, nothing's in there, hit back, go back into sound, everything's there. And I'm like, sweet, sound works now. Or I realize like 10 minutes in and I'm like, why don't I hear anything? And I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't do the sound dance that I usually do. 10.8 Windows updates bork my audio settings sometimes. Yeah. I wish they would unbork mine because Windows 11 as a whole messed mine up. So I wish they would undo it. Freaking Windows feels bad, man. I don't mind it. It's easy. It's easy to make Windows your punching bag, but man, without Windows, I wouldn't be able to do a lot. Evo, Elise, Techno Tim, just watch your latest YouTube video. You probably already know this, but depends on in your compose file isn't great. It just waits for the container to start rather than the software on the container, so it can be unreliable, especially if software takes a while to start. Instead, use wait for it sh. Yeah, I'm familiar with wait for it, that shell script. Yeah, totally. Yeah, good call. I figured that. I thought that Docker was kind of using that behind the scenes, but could be wrong. But yeah. Good call. So that depends on, and I generally I don't do it. I just let my containers spin and flip until the other ones come up, and then eventually they get there. But there's weird timing issues sometimes with traffic where, if you're doing like the traffic portainer stack, like, one has to be up before the other because one requires TLS. So, but yeah, good call. I'm very familiar with wait for it sh. I use it on a couple of other things. I mean, I don't know the code itself, but it's all over. It's everywhere. Everyone uses it. But good call. Thank you so much. Demon Deacon. That's funny because my work laptop automatically changes my mic volume. Yeah. because my work laptop automatically changes my mic volume. Yeah, I need some of that. I mean, I have a Go XLR mixer right now, but it works great until just recently. Like I said earlier, my Go XLR totally died, and it's going to be, it's already been 3 weeks, and they said it's going to be another 10 to 12. So I just bought another one. I'm like, well, what else can I do? I'm waiting on the RMA for 4 months. I can't do that. So anyways, I absolutely, I had a hardware problem, and they said they got to replace the main board, and they're like, yeah, 10 to 12 weeks. I'm like, just ship me a brand new one. I can get one off Amazon right now. And that's what I did, because I was like, it's cost of doing business. I got to do it. Like, show's got to go on. Like, I can't wait on this RMA for 4 months. But anyways, yeah, I think the last piece of it is software. I think I'm going to wipe my Windows machine. I've said it like 5 times now. Now I'm totally committed. In my head, I'm like, yep, after the stream, just wiping this whole thing. Kind of scared. Let's see. First time chat from viewer, Netteroni Pizza. Nateroni. Nateroni. I like it, Nateroni. We have a friend. His name is Nate, and we call him Nateroni. So I like this Nateroni. That's been me as well. Windows doesn't seem to slow down as badly since Windows doesn't seem to slow down as badly since Windows 10. I agree. It's lightning fast, and all that it does. It's really, really, like, it's enjoyable. I'm honing in on the very specialized, very small edge case of someone who has a Go XLR that has 2 microphones, or even has a Go XLR in general. 99% of Windows users, 99.99 Windows users don't have one. So they probably never notice this at all. But it might be a problem with all USB audio. I don't know. But yeah, it runs great, and I can't say enough about how awesome WSL is, and how, what a joy it is to use WSL and not have to keep flipping over to either my Mac or remote into a Linux machine just to write some code or do terminal commands. It's fantastic. Like, I never thought I'd be able to develop on Windows like I do now. It's great. It's so great. Crack Kitty, dude, thank you so much. Shoot, last 100 bits next week, more bits. Thank you, man. You didn't have to. Appreciate it, dude. Thank you. PC Geek, at least for as long as I've known you, you haven't rebuilt that I can recall. How about build a new PC instead? Oh yeah, so that was my other point. Thank you, man. You were just reading my mind. That was my other point. I kind of went off on a tangent, like I need to rebuild. My thought was, which I didn't say, was I was gonna wait for my new PC build, which I'm so ready to do it. But things are super expensive right now. Do I choose Intel, AMD? DDR5 is probably going to cost as much as a whole entire PC would have 2 years ago, I already have the video card in place. So, but so my plan was to build a new PC because it's, this is not a problem at all, but I only have 32 gigs of RAM on this machine. My board can hold 64, but I'm not going to buy 4 new DIMMs to replace the 4 DIMMs here that are okay. It's DDR4. I could probably make money off it, actually. I'm not going to. And so there's like this laundry list of things that aren't adequate enough now that I'm doing a lot more YouTube stuff and a lot more streaming and a lot more of everything on my Windows machine. So I was thinking about building a new machine, and I was going to wait. I was like, I'm not going to rebuild until I build a new machine, because why? But I'm getting to the point where I might need to, because it's like impacting my workflow. It's impacting my workflow, multiple reboots or hangs or like I said, I run out of RAM. If I launch, whatever, when I'm editing a video and then I launch Photoshop to edit the thumbnail, and then, I have a terminal window open and, 1535 Chrome tabs open, it just comes to a crawl. I know I could close some of my Chrome tabs, but still, even one is like a gig of memory. So anyways, that was my plan. I might have to do a plan B, which is just rebuild this machine and just start clean. Be a fresh start. I used to love doing that. It was like, my machine's kind of slow. I know what I'm doing tonight. Rebuild, and I would be so happy and have everything automated and running great. But yeah, good call. First time chat from Valcob. I just installed k3s on my NAS and something went wrong and caused coup control. I can do all the things and see the dashboard things, but Rancher and dashboard just won't start. Let's see. I just installed k3s on my NAS and something went wrong. Because with coup control, I can do all the things and I see all the things, but Rancher dashboard just won't start. Yeah, so I would, so if you can do all the things with kube control, and I mean, you say you have it on your NAS, which is K3s, which I assume you installed it via Helm. I would look at that Rancher container itself. So if you can do kube control, I think it's logs, the Rancher container name, it's probably Rancher, and see what the logs say for that container. And see if you have, if it's exposed via a load balancer. I don't know if you're using MetalLB, but it'd probably be a good idea to, open up an IP or create a load balancer or an ingress with MetalLB and serve it out that way. That's what I do. But my first go-to is that's good. You have kube control. That means you can communicate with the Kubernetes API. I would get the logs from that Rancher container. There might be hints in there. And if not, I think I have some documentation somewhere on how to get how to expose it through MetalLB. If not, ping me in Discord and I can send it to you. But get MetalLB on there too. That'll surely help. Oh well, it'll give you a backdoor or another way to expose Rancher if it's not exposed or something's wrong with the service load balancer that they use. 10-8TP, first time caller, long time lurker. Thank you. Appreciate it. Valcup, what's the best way to uninstall K3s? There is a magic uninstall script. When you install K3s, there's actually an uninstall script that comes along with it. Just Google uninstall K3s and you'll land on Rancher's documentation of K3s, and there's an uninstall script right there. If you run that with sudo, it'll totally clean everything up, and it's like it's never been there. If you can't find it, ping me, because I've run that a bajillion times. Ron Ross, also having strange audio issues since going to Windows 11, both on an old machine that I upgraded and a brand new gaming laptop. All right, yeah. I mean, the last time I had these problems with audio, I think it was with Windows 8 when they changed out the audio subsystem or something. I don't know. But it's been a while. It's, video and audio has been rock solid on 10. I feel like they perfected it towards the end of 8, and 10, it's just been, for me, rock solid. And now it's not. And I get it. They probably had to rewrite a ton of stuff or change stuff out, and that's fine. But it seems to be common. Audio, my video is fine. I'm not checking to see, hey, am I getting less frames in games? No, I'm not checking. I have a 3090, so I have a few to spare, but audio, people are so sensitive to audio. I mean, more than video. And something's wrong with audio if you're wearing headphones, especially. Something's wrong, something's crackling, something's not there. You recognize it even faster than something in video. But yeah. The uninstall. Oh, yeah. Pizza Geek. The uninstall script. Oh, gosh. Why did I click on that? That could have been bad. No, I know. But yeah, there is there you go. Uninstall script that's built in. Server IP could not be found. Server IP address could not be found. Oh, this is going back to why can you not get to the dashboard. Matt G Photo. Hey, Techno Tim. One thing I wanted to get your opinion on is an older rack mount hardware. And in terms of power efficiency, doesn't exist. No, I'm kidding. I'm finding my bill can be a bit much. My old R710 runs around 300 watts, and running it a long time can really increase the power bill. I agree. Do you have any recommendation for Dell hardware that might be more efficient, but it's still cheap? That's tough. Those are two axes on the scale. Save money up front, but be efficient. I think as it's tough. It's a tough calculus right there because it's hard to do. Cheap but efficient is and powerful and lots of RAM and all the other requirements you tack on to it are going to increase the cost. I think some people have run smaller. I think R620s. I want to say. I mean, I have no personal recommendation in that area because I ran an R710 for a while. I mean, I moved up to super micro servers, but totally newer servers, I should say. Black Star Kami. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. But I paid a lot more for my servers than I did my Dell R710. But because of that, I got a ton of efficiency out of it. And that's kind of what I valued was efficiency rather than having huge workhorses run all the time. So I would toss it out to in our Discord and join our Discord if you're not there already. Put it in the hardware section. So many people have so many experience in this area too. And a lot of people just have gone through it over the last 6 months. Same exact situation you're in. Want to save some power. They have too much power as far as compute and want to save some energy or want to be a little bit more efficient and ended up moving on to something else. But I think 620s are what people are going to. But I would definitely toss it up in the hardware channel because I've only had so many experiences with so many devices, only the ones that I can buy. The other is just what I hear people talking about in Discord. But like I said, that's a tough calculus. You want a powerful machine, so you want a lot of compute. You probably want a lot of RAM. You probably want enterprise features, but you don't want to pay a lot of money. But you want it to be efficient. It's it's like I said, tough calculus there. Valcub, nice, thanks. Yeah, no problem. That was PC Geek for that script. There's also a script for agents. Yeah, so I have it's probably pinned in Discord too, but I have for agents, it's going to be different. If it's K3s, you can probably run the install script and it's fine. But if it's Rancher agents and stuff like that, not what you're talking about, there's a bunch of Docker commands and other stuff you can run too, which I have pinned in Discord. Salvarius, upgrading to a Gen 12 13 Dell server should be huge difference in power usage. Yeah, upgrade. I'm kind of there too. That's why I went there. I know I paid a lot more money, probably twice at least for my server. 2x, but hopefully, it's already been a year and a half, almost 2 years, hopefully over, 2-3 years running 24/7, that'll offset the cost that I paid. Who knows? I haven't been measuring it, so. PC Geek, F2B, fail2ban is a PETA to configure though. I totally agree. I have it on my OpenVPN server. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. I've done it before too, and I've only done it with SSH. I don't even open SSH anymore, but when I used to, I had it configured for that. It is painful. It is painful, and that's some of the problems that I think CrowdSec is trying to solve too, because it's modular. You can get these collections and these parsers and these bouncers. They all have different roles, and they're all open source projects. And they've done a lot of the configuration for you. So it's actually pretty awesome. You could say, hey, this is my Linux machine and it's also running traffic, download this collection of parsers so that it knows how to parse logs. And then there's one other terminology I forget. It's like overflows or something like that. Download the overflows, and that basically is some of the logic of what does it do or how does it detect these types of cyber threats, and then you have bouncers, which are actually take the action. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, and they've configured quite a bit. I mean, you don't have to configure much on it, at least if you want what they have configured out of the box. It's pretty awesome. 10.8TP, I feel like fail2ban is just gold because it's simple and easy and has been a staple for a while now. Yeah, I totally agree. And so this isn't like, hey, you shouldn't use fail2ban anymore. Heck no, it's awesome and it's done a fantastic job. But it's interesting because it's been on an island. It's been a unicorn for a long time. It has been a unicorn. It's the only one. It's rare. It's the only one. This is the first time I've seen something that really could compete with that. Is I guess my point. But it's super interesting. Matt G Photo, the X30 series. Thank you, Salvarius. Yeah, for sure, Salvarius. Thank you. Evo Elise, what CrowdSec are they doing for a malicious bad listing of good IPs or to deny service to them? Yeah. Let me make sure I got this right. Are they doing for a malicious bad listing of good IPs to deny service to them? I think, I'm sorry if I'm misunderstanding this, but I think what you're asking is what do they do for basically if they accidentally have a good IP in their block list? I'm not sure. But the way I understand it is they have a collection of bad IPs from the community as well as a curated list that they've gathered from doing, I guess, security intelligence. And those are shared with other people. I think as you see bad actors on your network, If those IPs are, if they have a public IP attached to them in a header or something somewhere, it'll send up IP information, the rule that they blocked. And when I say IP information, not your IP information, but the IP of the hacker or the bad actor, as well as the rule that they broke. And then I think a list of the rules that you had installed, and sends it up somewhere. Yeah. And that's that. But I'm not sure I fully understand your question. Let me, if I didn't answer it, let me know. Salvarius, X20s, Gen 12, X30s, Gen 13. Problem with X30 will be memory prices. Yeah, so I assume that's DDR4. So yeah, kind of went through that. I got in right before DDR4 spiked up again. I got pretty lucky actually with my first set of DIMMs, and then I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to double my memory. And so I had to buy them all again. And, each DIMM went up by $20. And, it doesn't sound much, but when you have to buy 8 of them, it's $160. It's like, oh, man, killing me. Jimmy Lifam. Currently building a minimal Linux image, about 75 megabytes. Sorry, I saw little m. Base using less than 20 megabytes of RAM. Nice. To run a single board Kubernetes cluster with K3s. I like it. And all the spare single board computers I have. Your Longhorn distributed storage video has been very, very helpful. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I feel like that's it's kind of underrated. It comes in waves though. Longhorn does. Like, people are excited about it, and then people forget about it, and then they come back to it. And I think that's just this ebb and flow of people like trying Kubernetes, not doing Kubernetes, and saying, okay, I'm really going to do it this time, and then getting frustrated, and then not doing it, and then coming back to it again and say, okay, for real this time. And it's nothing to do with the person that's doing it. I mean, Kubernetes is very complicated, and there's a lot going on in there. Again, I say this all the time, but I'm still so surprised that everyone came together and kind of decided that was the way to move forward for containerization management. And as complicated as it is, I do feel like the future Kubernetes should be 100%, I mean, not 100, but 90% usability. And maybe they don't need to work on usability. Swiss Techno Tom, hey, thanks for the 100 bits. Thank you so much. But maybe they don't need to focus on usability because it's machines talking to machines. And so who cares if humans can then, press buttons when it's really machines talking to machines. So who knows? Maybe they shouldn't spend their time there. But it is tough for trying to be a Kubernetes operator at home. It's kind of tough. Cyborgium. Hi, Tim. Saw your video today on CrowdSec. Have you managed to get it running in HA Kubernetes? I've got 3 replicas of stateless traffic, so no volumes. But I'm struggling to find a way to have CrowdSec be able to read the logs from all of those traffic replicas. Interesting. You're going to have to... I see the problem. So you have 3 instances of traffic, each with their own access logs, and then you throw CrowdSec in there, which wants to be able to read those access logs, but they're all stateless. I don't think there's going to be a great way unless you write your logs somewhere together. I can't think of a better way unless, or if it's like a sidecar that you run. Maybe you could run a sidecar on those of CrowdSec. I haven't tried it yet. I've had these ideas in my head of how I'll do it. But I mean, if I were to do it, I'd probably just write my logs somewhere in a persistent volume claim using Longhorn or something with semi-fast storage and distributed storage, Longhorn, as we were just talking about, and write it there. And then if I write it there, then I know other containers like CrowdSec could read those. And then be able to parse them. But if it's totally stateless, like I like where your head's at, because I love stateless stuff, because why write anything anywhere and have to deal with that mess? If it's totally stateless, I mean, you might be able to do it as a sidecar to those traffic instances, but then you're running multiple. And then somehow those 3 instances need to be able to tell the bouncer to do stuff, which you'll probably have the bouncer run. Yeah, it gets complicated really quick. Happy to bounce ideas off you somewhere else or on Discord or something, but I haven't totally thought it through yet. They do have a couple of blog posts on running in Kubernetes, but they're doing it with Nginx Ingress, which if you're using traffic, you probably don't use that. So you know, you're using Ingress class and you define your routes individually. So it doesn't really help there, but there might be some gems in there. But yeah, not sure. I haven't tackled it yet. I'm so close to doing it because it's running on my Docker instance, and I wanted to make sure it worked there first. Pro Cheeseburger going great. Just got Uptime Kuma running. All right, one of my favorite self-hosted applications. Swiss Techno Tom, hey super Techno Tim. Great to see you here. Great to hear from you. Your video self-hosting security guide for your home lab is awesome. Redesign all my home lab. Thanks. Hey, I don't know whether to say sorry or thanks. No, I'm kidding. I'm glad you found use in it. I put a lot of time. That's like that's my self-hosting / home lab life's work so far. Those are all the things that I've learned about how to self-host stuff, where to keep stuff, and you know, over the last I'd probably say 5 years of doing this. I've been doing it much longer at home, but you know, just being able to set aside some time and figure it out, and as well as implementing it here, it's been super fun to figure out. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm sure there's tons of things I'm missing. If there are, let me know, because I'd love to update that at some point. Let's see. Belly Sarith. Hey Techno Tim, I've been using your videos as guidance for setup Kubernetes at my home lab. Awesome. Had to scratch everything again. All right, because I made some dumb mistakes. Hey, we all do. But we'll start soon again. But one technical question. Rancher, for example, is running on 443 and 80, and I have set up a load balancer to forward my server nodes. However, what I'm not really understand when looking at the ports listening on my server machines, neither 443 or 80 showed up, meaning I ran ss-into and I do not see 443. Let me see. Rancher, for example, is running on 443 and 80, and I set up a load balancer to forward to my server nodes. However, what I'm not really understand when I'm looking at the ports and listening on my server machines, neither 443 or 80 showed up, meaning I'm not sure I understand. So depends on how you're setting up Rancher. One, I think if you're going to redo it, I think you're talking about you're going to do K3s or some version of Kubernetes, and then you're going to install the HA version of Rancher, which is the Helm install, to basically throw Rancher on a cluster using the Helm installer, or however you want to do it. And then that will expose Rancher on 80 and 443. It should. I mean, that's how you get to the UI. But I don't think I understand the question, though. I'd really want to know, when looking on the ports listening on my server machines, neither 443 or 80 showed up. I don't know how to answer that, but it should. I mean, that's how you get to the UI. It's going to be 443 because it's going to be exposed that way, the Rancher UI. Let me know. I'm sorry. I wish I was like, yes, I'm totally going to nail this, because I know this stuff well, but I don't fully understand the question. Toss it in Discord if or toss it back in chat with some clarification. Let's see. Oh, there's a little more. Nor 80. I do not understand how this works. Yeah. Let me know. Toss some more on there. Because I don't fully understand what you mean by you don't see 80 or 443 exposed. Like where and what's going on. How can Kubernetes listen on these ports if the machine does not show the ports when running ss-into or some similar commands? I don't know. It should be. That's how you kube control into it. If you look at your kube config, it's going into 443. It should be. Tim is in a meeting. Tokyo lights come on. Tokyo Drift plays in the background. I don't like it. I like where this is going. All right, retired owl. Mostly try to go to bed early, but insomnia. I hear you. Retired from staying up all night. Yeah, oh man, that was the other one. Yes, ADHD and insomnia is an ingredient for HomeLab and InfoSec. I hear you. Really enjoyed your YouTube videos, Tim. Haven't had time to catch the live stream. Thank you for all you do. Yeah, no problem at all. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Built to fire. It is so late. That is early already. Let's see. Not working. Wiki, there we go. Wiki stuff. All right, Demon just added. Discord. All right, lots of commands in there. Let's see. Takano, how would you go about adding DDoS protection to a Minecraft server? Yeah, good question. Because that is not using layer 7. That is not using layer 7. It's probably using, I don't know, some other layer lower in the stack, but it's using TCP and UDP. Well, one is what we've just been talking today, CrowdSec. CrowdSec can do it for you. And I mentioned this earlier. Jay from Learn Linux TV has, I think, a video on how to protect yourself, DDoS attacks when you're gaming. This is exactly what you're talking about. Their client should be able to do it. How would you do it externally, like through Cloudflare? That gets a little bit tougher. You'd have to buy a load balancer in the cloud. Like Cloudflare has a service for this, and it's you know, a lower level. I think it's level 3. I don't know. I forget my networking stack. It's been so long since I looked at that diagram. But you can't do layer 7, so it's not reverse proxy because that's only for HTTP type traffic. But you can do it if you want to do it yourself. You can use a product like CrowdSec. Your firewall that you have above you that you're that your traffic's going through might have something there. I think Suricata, I think, is what people use on pfSense, or Snort. Snort is the IDS piece. I think you can do blocking too. But then otherwise, or in the cloud. But I think those are kind of your options right there. Install something on the machine, install something on your firewall, or configure something on your firewall, or put it in the cloud and use a cloud load balancer that's really smart and can do all that too. But then you have to have all your traffic come through there. But that's, again, another way to mask your IP, so no one knows your real IP. You give them, you know, you configure DNS to point at some cloud load balancer like, you know, Cloudflare, and then people have that IP and they don't have your home IP. So lots of ways to solve it. But if you wanted to do something today, it would probably be, if you're using pfSense, somewhere in there, or you could try out CrowdSec. Yeah. Let's see. Cyborgium, nope, these are all messages. PC Geek, Takano maybe need a public service for that. Yep, I know Cloudflare offers game streaming proxy, but it's not free. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. They offer basically a full-blown load balancer for you could use. Dunkle Dan, by the way, what do you use for backups? I've been using Veeam for my Windows machines for years, and now that I have Proxmox running, I've been delving into Proxmox backup and trying to get that all sorted. Oh, that's a long one. It's kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. So I most of my stuff gets stored on my NAS. My NAS then syncs somewhere else locally, and then most of my NAS then gets backed up in the cloud. So I guess it's 3-2-1. But do I use a client and an agent, and do I back up stuff? No, I have a lot of, I don't want to say a lot, but I have some scripts. So most of my servers, I put things in known locations, and then I know that's where I put the things that I need to back up. And then also, like, a lot of my servers really, they're kind of throwaway. I talk about this on a couple of streams, you know, the whole pets versus cattle. I try to treat most of my virtual machines like cattle, even though I have some that are very unique, like a pet, like one of them. I still try to take that cattle mentality, put things in known locations, don't back up the virtual machine, at least as much as I normally would, but back up the things that it's writing or the configuration more often. But anyways, so then if I do back up virtual machines on a loose schedule, I think it's, I don't know, maybe once or twice a week. I need to look at my schedule again. I haven't looked at it. But I just use Proxmox backups. I don't use PBS, though the Proxmox backup server. I back them up with Proxmox and then target my NAS that way. But I don't do it that often. And I only keep, I think I have like, I do twice a week and keep a limit of 2. Like anything over a week for most of my virtual machines is like too old. Like, because of a lot of things, because a lot of them run Kubernetes. I don't even think if one of my Kubernetes servers died, I would restore it. Because I have no idea what would happen when I brought it back up, if it has old containers or if it was a server and has etcd on it. I don't know what the rest of my cluster would do. I would assume it would tell that node, hey, you're behind by 2 days. Here's all the data you're missing, and my cluster would be fine. But I just don't even want to deal with that. And a majority of my machines here are dedicated to running Kubernetes. Everything else, like client machines, like Windows and Macs and stuff, we just write to the NAS, and then I have some, like I said, NAS syncs to something else that eventually gets backed up to the cloud. Let's see. It is very expensive. Yeah. Swiss Techno Tom, how have you used Authelia inside your HomeLab authentication and authorization? Yeah. So how have I used it? Just two-factor auth on stuff that didn't have two-factor auth before. That's kind of how I've used it. I haven't used it for any of my APIs. I probably could. It gets a little bit complex to do that. But I mean, that's all I've used it for. Some of my things don't have two-factor auth, and that's here internally, because I don't really expose anything publicly that, I won't go into that. So I don't expose a ton publicly that would that is that secure, even though I have two-factor auth on those things. But I didn't do it through Authelia. I did it through their internal system of whatever service I'm using. But my internal stuff that is a little bit more secure, yeah, I have it turned on. It gets tricky though. Especially for internal stuff, because it's like, one, you might have the double hop where you authenticate once to Authelia, and then you might have to authenticate again to the system unless you configure headers and all that. So it gets a little bit complicated. But that's generally how I've used it. Or things that don't have auth at all. Like there are a couple things that they're like, we're not doing auth. This container contains no auth, and then so I just have to put auth in front of it. But like I said, it gets a little bit tricky because, if let's say, for instance, there was a breach, and there was a breach somewhere in my network, I have to make sure that those services are protected by firewall rules too, right? Because I have to force people through my proxy. Otherwise, if they circumvent my proxy and go straight to the service, then they're kind of circumventing, the auth that I have in place. So some thought and consideration probably needs to go into where you put those things too, or firewall rules to say, hey, like no one can circumvent my proxy. You must go through my reverse proxy, which has, TLS encryption and also has authentication and authorization. So yeah, but that's about it. I mean, nothing too fancy. And honestly, I haven't used it for publicly facing systems because it just gets a little bit more complicated that way. And some of the services that I have running already support two-factor auth from like third-party providers or social providers. Chicano, I tried to register for the wiki, but it gave me an error. Yeah, it is. It's known, and hopefully it gets fixed soon. But ping me in that wiki channel and Discord, and I'll fix it. I know what's going on. It's this weird thing where it can't auto-assign a role when people create an account, which it should be able to. But they had a default role there, and I created a new role with different permissions, and it's broken. So, ping me in that channel. But anyways, you could just clear your cookies on the site and just don't log back in, and I'll fix it before that. Demon Deacon just bought a Creality. Awesome. Build a Fire. Could you ever do a video about your streaming setup? I kind of have one. I kind of have one. Build a Fire. I have one on like my YouTube creation process and all the hardware I use. I mean, that's pretty much it. And it covers all of this too. So check it out. Let's see. Chicano, that's a shame. I have to just abort the idea, especially since it's just for fun. No, there are other ways. You don't have to pay. PC Geek, what is funny is my work on a metal CNC machine shop. Can you get a public-facing VPS, DDoS protection? Yeah, you can. You can do it that way too. There are some decent, inexpensive, even free ones. Yeah. If your VPS provides that DDoS protection, most of the time they're just going to give you a public IP. So I don't know. It just depends. Most of the time that's like an upcharge, right? They give you the VPS, they give you an IP address and on the public IP, and boom, you're on the internet. I mean, you're on the crazy internet. No firewall unless you have it turned on. If they give you a hole in the firewall, and you might have a public IP. Hopefully, then you could put a load balancer in front of it and then protect yourself from that stuff. But most likely that stuff they're going to charge for, just like Cloudflare would too. But try the things I was talking about. Let's see. Brixus. You could 3D print lots of things and also have access to a bunch of tools at TC Makers. Yeah. Good call. Dunkle Dan, Number of Munchers. Oh no, I remember playing that one on Apple II machines in school back when when dirt was new. Oh, I like it when dirt was new. Oh, I loved it. There are similar games. I think they called it word crunchers. They tricked us into learning what we loved. Yeah, for sure. Number munchers. I loved it so much. And there are JavaScript versions of the game and stuff too. Every now and then I'll go to YouTube and like look at all the little cutscenes of it because it was so fun. All right, guys. I went a little bit over only because I was a little bit late, so I'm going to skim through here and look for mentions. So I apologize if I'm skipping over your message. I'm going to look for mentions because I know for sure you're talking to me. Hi, Lamb Prank. Proxmox is killing me. Can't seem to connect to the internet. New Proxmox though. Oh, that one's tough. Networking. That one's tough without more information. Could be a million things, but it should just work, right? Techno Tim, another general question: one big CSS file or one per HTML page? I would go even further and say one per component. One per component. So if you're saying one per page, that probably means you're probably just doing vanilla HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. I mean, because I won't go down that path, but I would do one per page. If you're doing pages. But I would encourage you to look at something like React or Vue and ditch most of that altogether because then you'll have either style components, JSS, or many other ways that you're writing CSS, but you don't have CSS files, if that makes sense. But anyways, I wouldn't do one big file. I would do one per HTML page. And then depending on how you transpile or your JavaScript build process, however that looks like, if you're using Webpack or Packer or whatever, it should be able to, or Parcel, it should be able to transpile that and put it all together and minify it so that it doesn't even matter. So really, the organization is up to you because when you deliver that down to a client and depending on your build pipeline or your tool chain for transpiling all that stuff, it's going to mangle and minify it anyways, and you want it to. All right, looking for mentions because I gotta wrap it up. It is a little bit later. Don't we know don't know what points are, but here we go. Pro Cheeseburger, all right, thank you. Lickety Splitted, built my first Docker image recently, containerized a friend's Python script that hunts for phishing kits. All right, congratulations. Super awesome. It's super fun once you build your own container. Because then it's like, oh, awesome. Now I can do CI, I can do all these other things, or serve it up and anyone can pull it down. Bellis Sareth, hey Techno Tim, one question. Why do you use Kubernetes ports like Rancher 443 and 80 not pop up? I don't understand this question. I know you asked it a couple times. Ping me in Discord. Let's get deeper on this because you've asked the same question now 3 times and I'm not sure I understand like why I use those ports because that's what Rancher uses. So I apologize. Oh my God, late. What's up? Good to see you. Good to see you too. All right, looking for mentions because do got to wrap it up. It is getting close to the end. All right. It's kind of, there you go. You snuck it in there. It is raw HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I have the website code in GitHub, so I'll post a link in Discord. Yeah, I would encourage you, if you're building something for public, use React or Vue. I know it's gonna be painful and it's gonna hurt at first, but they're skills that like everyone's looking for, and plus there's a huge community around it. And you'll find like if you start going down that path with React or Vue, you'll find like just how it can be frustrating, but how easy and fast it is to get things done too. And then you can lean into component libraries. Like you don't need to build components, you don't need to build forms, you don't need to build any of this stuff manually anymore because someone's already built a component library for you. You want a form? Sure. You want a Discord pop-up save bar? Sure. You want, a button that's already styled? Sure. Grab it, Plenty of React and Vue components out there, component libraries that'll give you that stuff for free because then you're not focusing on that stuff, you're focusing on delivering value and, whatever that may be. Anyways, hey guys, really appreciate it. Oh, one more snuck in there. So Callie, do you have multiple Kubernetes clusters for internal and external stuff? Yes, I do have multiple. Yes, I do. Yep. I have multiple clusters. And then I have some nodes that are only dedicated to internal and external stuff. So there's a couple ways you can slice and dice that. I do have multiple clusters. They do have different roles, but also I do things in one cluster. I don't know how to explain it, but I have some nodes inside of a cluster that are dedicated to internal stuff only. I have multiple traffic instances within my Kubernetes cluster, and one traffic instance is dedicated to internal stuff, and one's dedicated to external stuff. So, for whatever reason, I just didn't want a ton of clusters. I have two, and so I started dividing one up this way. And I see a lot of people do that with environments too, right? With prod and QA and staging. It's like you could either go really crazy and create clusters for all those environments, or you could use namespaces and nodes and labels and do it that way. So lots of ways to do it. Last one. Hello, Techno Tim. Thank you for the great work you do. Thank you. I just wanted to confirm, do you already have a video regarding Let's Encrypt? No, not by itself. I have a video regarding traffic. I never use Let's Encrypt by itself. I have a video on traffic on how to get certificates with Let's Encrypt and do it that way. Because I've done it once before, which is plain old certbot, and while it worked, at the end of the day, those certificates were really for my reverse proxy. And reverse proxies have wised up and said, hey, if we include a way to get certificates with Let's Encrypt, more people will use this. Or that's one of the biggest use cases for a reverse proxies. Hey, put certificates on this thing. Okay, guys. Hey, thanks for coming out today. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a great week and rest of the weekend. If you have more things you want to talk about, want to discuss more, or I didn't understand the question you were talking, I encourage you to join our Discord. Our Discord server it's getting close to 6,000 members of people who are interested in tech, interested in stuff, who like to talk about all kinds of stuff we're talking about today, and all kinds of different stuff too we haven't talked about today. And it's not just all about me. It's a lot of other people do a lot of talking, and it's fantastic. I love it. I love that people are there and they're active in that chat. So I can't thank you guys enough. And if you look at the ranks, I'm about number 20 out of 6,000. If that, I might have lost some ranks. Because a lot of people are a lot higher in rank as far as chat's concerned. So anyways, I encourage you to join if you are interested. It's there, no pressure. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you. There was follows, there was subs, there was bits, there was lots of chatting, lots of questions, lots of excitement about things you guys are working on. Yeah, thank you. I can't thank you enough. So anyways, have a great rest of the weekend. Have a great week. I'll have something out for you hopefully this week. But if not, take care. Take care, folks, and be good to each other. Have a good night.